Welcome into the Gridiron Grind. It's Crew 3 and Jimmy G. Back for another episode, our 16th episode of the season, going strong. College football is about, the bowls have already started. It's about to start the playoff. NFL is winding down. It's a great time and watching football, Jimmy. About to embark. I guess the Heisman just happened. We'll cover that real quick. What do you think? I was a little shocked it was as close as it was. I kind of thought Travis Hunter was definitely going to be the guy, but they said it was the closest one in a while. What did you think? I would have voted for Travis Hunter. I think the right guy won, but I mean, hats off to Ashton Genty. He had a heck of a season.
Yeah, and and it just goes to show you how far, because they keep showing the comparisons of Reggie Bush's Heisman year and Mark Ingram's Heisman year. And I think me personally, I broke it down. I explained it to some folks. I said, you're either in one or two boats. It's either the best player in college football or the guy who's most valuable to his team. One of the two, right? What's the award for? Because if it's most valuable to his team, 100%, it's Ashton Genty, and arguably the best guy in football. But then I go, if it's just pure best guy in football, Travis Hunter, while I don't feel like he should have won the Biletnikoff, because that Nash kid, which, by the way, I'm like, Dallas, hey, let's try to get this dude,
San Jose State, yeah.
He led when you lead the nation in the big statistical categories for your position, you deserve to win the award. So I didn't feel like he deserved to win the Biletnikoff, but the Heisman, and it just goes back to Tim Tebow, right? Tebow wins the Heisman, it's, oh, well, we don't give it to sophomores, but you had such a dynamic sophomore doing things you'd never seen before. You're like, oh, well, we don't give it to freshmen. Well, then Johnny Manziel came out and beat Bama and was running around, and nobody could, hold coverage, and Swope was open a whole bunch. So it's like, well, God, we got to give it to it. Travis Hunter playing, regardless if he's not, Darrell Revis on one side and Jerry Rice on the other, or Dion on one side. I guess I should have said, sorry, coach. Dion on one side and Jerry Rice on the other. He's playing it at such a high level, and the guy rarely comes out of the game Owen Mazurek for Stanford played fullback and linebacker. Two just hard-nosed, those are your granddad's, football players type, but super impressive. Didn't do it at two of the most athletic positions on the field. To me, that's why Travis Hunter won it, and I think he deserved it. Like you said, I'd have voted for him too.
Yeah. So that's who I'd have went with. He wins it. First dual position guy to win it since Charles Woodson. Yeah. And that was a big debate. When was that? Was that 97?
97.
Yeah, 97 over Peyton Manning. He gets
Peyton Manning, Randy Moss, and Ryan Leaf.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Ryan Leaf. All right, playoff time. We hadn't had a show. We didn't have one last week. So SMU gets in over Alabama. You good with that? What do you think?
100%. I was worried. I said, SMU deserves to be in this committee. We expanded it. Everybody wants to expand the playoffs for stuff like this. Do not get it wrong again. Again, you and I kind of agree. They should have put Florida State in last year, even though it was going to be a massacre. But you met the requirements, you're in. Now, because you can stand on it on your ground and go, hey, guys, the requirements were met. What do you want us to do? They had the same opportunity this year, and they didn't mess it up, thankfully. I think SMU getting in was perfect.
I agree. And for me, it comes down to this. Alabama, don't lose to OU.
Yeah. You flew from Tuscaloosa to Norman to kick a field goal and then flew back.
Exactly. Dude, not only did you get beat by OU, you got smoked by them.
Yeah. 3 losses to 2 losses. Even if you want to break it down, I'm like, SMU had 2 losses. Yeah. OU had 3. Alabama had 3. The worst one being to that OU team.
Exactly. Okay. SMU didn't have a bad loss. BYU was, 9-0 to start the season.
Yeah,
and then
they lost to Clemson. A top 10 team, I think. And then lost Clemson in the title.
They lost Clemson on a 57, 60-yard field goal in the ACC championship. I think if I'd have been the committee, I'd have voted for SMU. It was just simple. Alabama, you can't have a bad loss. And you had one to OU. So that would have been. So your 5 conference champs to get in. You got Oregon, only undefeated team. And then, of course, Georgia wins the SEC over Texas overtime. That was a good game. Clemson obviously gets in. Arizona State, and then Boise State. Boise State able to get a bye. Actually, the 3 seed Mountain West team. I think that, I mean, if when you look at the other ones over Arizona State and Clemson, I think Boise deserves a 3 seed. They won every game except for Oregon, and wasn't that a 3-point game?
Yeah, that was a close game.
So, I mean, I think Boise deserves that 3 seed. Um, Now I do think in the future, I don't know about giving guys buys. Because when you look at this field, I don't know if Arizona State and Boise State deserve a bye. I think they deserve to be in the playoff, maybe. And I've heard the argument like in college basketball, March Madness, you win your conference, you're into the tournament, but you're not guaranteed a 1 seed. And I
Right, you
think
reseed.
yeah, I think you guarantee them to get in, but then you pick your 12 and then you seed them 1 through 12.
I
Uh,
agree, 100%. And
I think
that's
that's how
what
it needs to be.
same conversation. I totally agree with that. And I think that's I like 12 because I think the right 12 got in. Obviously, if
Mhm.
you're Alabama or A&M, you're going, no, I'll bring it to 14 and let us get in. And you never make everybody happy, right? No one goes,
Right.
I don't need a raise, boss. I'm happy making the money that I'm making right now. Give it to the next guy. You never make everybody happy. But reseat, I agree. Like you said, like Arizona State and Boise State getting a bye, it's kind of, well,
I mean, they're probably
but
the 11th, 10th, ninth best team. I mean, they're in that
right.
range, and they're getting
Mhm.
a 3 and 4 seed getting a bye. So anyway, let's break these games down. Friday night's the first one, Indiana, Notre Dame. Indiana just the one loss at Ohio State. I mean, they haven't played a too tough of a schedule.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think the only team comparable to Notre Dame that they've played is Ohio State, and that one got away from them. It'll be at South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame is what is it, a 7-point favorite for Notre Dame, and over under 52. Does Indiana they have enough to keep this close and maybe pull the upset?
I think they do. I've got a pick on this game, so we'll get to it later. But yeah, Notre Dame, and Marcus Freeman, they're going to have to play. They're going to have to play.
They have a
They're going
really
to have
good
to put away.
defense.
Yeah, and Indiana's one of those teams, Trey. They're like a Vanderbilt. They're one of those annoying teams that's good, really good this year. And if you let them hang around, they will beat you. Um,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I like, Notre Dame's got to approach this like they did Army and Navy. Hey guys, these two teams are coming in, each time coming in undefeated, coming in
Yep.
hot, coming in looking for the win. And Notre Dame took care of business both times, and Notre Dame's going to have that same mentality. Because, like I said, if this is a close game back and forth, and Notre Dame can't put the foot on the throat, Indiana will win this game.
It's possible. I think Notre Dame's got the better roster. They got home field. It's going to be cold,
Mhm.
windy outside. See what happens. But Indiana quarterback, I think he's going to be back and healthy. So, I mean, they did their last game. They beat Purdue, which isn't good, but they beat Purdue like 66-7 or something.
Yeah,
So, Notre Dame hadn't had too difficult of a schedule either. They have the one loss at home to Northern Illinois, but they haven't had to throw the ball. I mean, Notre Dame's MO has been play great defense and just run the ball. They got a really good running back, Jeremiah Love. They also have the kid from Denison. Is he hurt or is he playing?
no, he's still playing. Number
Playing.
24, Darian
Yeah.
Thomas,
Price. Yeah, they got
Darian
Love,
Price,
Love and
excuse me.
Price. I mean, they got a good running game. They got a good defense. Saturday morning, you got SMU at Penn State. It's going to be 27 degrees at kickoff. Noon start there in Happy Valley, there in Pennsylvania. Penn State favored by 8.5. This is a weird matchup because you got SMU. They like to run and gun. Penn State likes to play ball control kind of offense. Their quarterback's been playing well, Drew Aller. What are you thinking, SMU Penn State?
I got to pick in this one later too. I tell you, Rhett Lashley, man, I'd have went for two. Of course, that's easy
I
for
would
me
have
to say,
too. I would have too. It wouldn't have
but
mattered.
it. I'm going. Man, it was Arkansas plays TCU a couple years ago, and we go for two, and I was going, "What are you doing?" We score, we get it in, we beat TCU, and ever since then, that's really kind of changed my. Of course, we came out on top, right? If you don't come out on top, it's easy to go the other way.
Right.
But I'm going. What do you got to lose? And you're not even supposed to be there. You're the first guy in the new kid on the block in the conference, going up against the powerhouse of the conference for the last, I don't know, almost decade or more. So I'm going, go for it, guys. You know, like Sonny Dykes and TCU and that Big 12 championship game. And yes, hey man, just go for two and don't do it. So I I really wanted SMU to win, so I really wanted Rhett Lashley and them to go for two. But I think SMU is dangerous if they get out running and gunning. The ponies get running. Like you said, it's going to be cold. Um, as long as they don't have a hangover there from the conference championship game, like I said, I think ponies get out and running. Penn State's going to be in trouble because I don't
Yep,
think they could keep up with SMU. If SMU is able firing on all cylinders, able to execute at a high rate, I think it'll be over.
could be. The next game, the 3 o'clock game, and don't forget some of these games are on TNT. TNT got a package
Oh,
that they bought time from ESPN. So the Texas Clemson game for sure is on TNT. I think maybe
dude.
the SMU Penn State. So if you're trying to find the game, a couple of these games will be on TNT. Texas hosting Clemson, and Texas favored by 12 at the moment. And Texas coming off the loss to Georgia in overtime in the SEC championship game. You got Cade Klubnik's quarterback of Clemson. He's from Austin. And Klubnik and Ewers squared off in the state championship game in 2020. Of course, Klubnik was the winning quarterback for Austin Westlake back then. So a bit of a rematch. What are you thinking, Texas Clemson?
Um, I don't know if Texas wins by 12, but I think Texas just wins the game. I think Clemson's defense is pretty porous, and
Yeah.
it's really going to depend on what Quinn Ewers you get. We say that almost every week when we talk about your
Right.
Longhorns, but if you get the super dynamic Quinn Ewers, last year Quinn Ewers over rocking chair, it won't even be close. Texas will cover 12.
Yep.
If you
I agree
get
with that.
just a decent Quinn Ewers, Texas is going to win this game. To me, the only way I see Texas losing this game is if you get a Quinn Ewers who just is just throwing off his back foot, turning the ball over all the time, making terrible decisions. Because I think Texas is the most complete football team, start to finish, in college football this year. And I think they've got the better team. And at some point, you're going to out athlete the other team. It just happens. And so I think that's what the longer this game goes on, I think Texas is going to wear Clemson down. Again, defense not very good. We talked about it. Texas reminds me kind of old school Alabama. We're going to get up about 14-17. We really like 17. And then we're just going to run the football down your throat. And we're going to take time off the clock and we're going to win. We're not going to win pretty, but we're going to win and move on. And so I expect some of that to happen.
I mean, I agree with everything you just said. I think I think Texas wins the game regardless, just because Texas defense is for real. It's the number one defense in the country. They create the most turnovers. That Texas defense, that's why Texas will win the game. But I think, just like you said, does Texas cover? I think that depends on Quinn Ewers. How good is he? How dynamic is he? Uh, can't turn the football over. Um, Something I'm looking for is, like you said, wearing Clemson down. If they shut down the run and Klubnik has to throw the ball 40 times and he's got to run it 20 times, how does he hold up? I mean, that's a lot of hits. And this Texas secondary, you watch that SEC game, those dudes are coming up smacking some dudes. Klubnik's
Yeah.
going to take a lot of hits. And then the Texas pass rush has been unreal. They're in the top six. I think they're sixth in the country in sacks.
Mhm.
I mean, they got some dudes who can just get after you. If Texas gets a lead and if Clemson can't run the ball, Clemson's got to drop back to pass that many times. The Texas pass rush is going to get to him. He's going to take a lot of hits. I think that'll have a factor that could factor in whether Texas covers or not. But it's one of these games, just looking at the matchup, I think it favors Texas. And I think Texas will be in control of this game probably the entire game. But Texas was in control of that Georgia game the whole time. And that's what killed them. They dominated the first half against Georgia, but only were ahead 6-3 at halftime. That's why, to me, that was why they lost the game. So what does Texas do? If they control the game again, is Quinn Ewers able to put up touchdowns and put up some points? I think that'll go a long way is if they cover. But I think we both agree Texas got the better team when you match up
And
with Clemson.
interesting talking to some of our other broadcast colleagues. A lot of them are pulling for you get in the red zone the first time. If Quinn Ewers looks like he did, bring
Yeah.
in Art. They
Yep.
go, Arch Manning comes in, they snap, beautiful snap between the legs to get that
Yeah.
going. I mean, that was pretty
What a
wild to
play.
see. But I'm going, you bring Arch in, like, what do you think about that? Do you think they'll have packages for Arch similar like they did, Tyrone Swoops, the 18-wheeler package, something. I know he's not as big as Swoops, but definitely more mobile than Quinn. What do you think? You think we're going to see some of that? What do you think Sark's thinking?
I would think so. I mean, Arch Manning in the red zone worked very well against A&M, scored a touchdown. Thought we were going to see more of that against Georgia. For whatever reason, he didn't do it. I think he knows they've struggled the last few games in the red zone. I think you're going to see a package for Arch in the red zone, maybe even short yardage like he did against Georgia. I would expect to see upwards of 5 snaps for Arch Manning, at least 5 to 10 snaps, depending on how the game goes. But I think you got to use him. His dual threat, if you're struggling in the red zone, one way to solve that is have a dual threat quarterback. And I think you're going to see some Arch Manning snaps. I mean, I think Quinn's going to be the guy, unless he's hurt. Quinn's going to be the guy, but I think you get in the red zone. I think Sark's had 2 weeks to come up with some stuff. And I don't think he's going to allow Texas not to give them the best opportunity to score touchdowns in the red zone, and that Arch Manning might be the answer. So I would expect to see him.
I think okay, I like that. I think you got to do something. Like you said, if you're Sark, you can't go like you said, dominate that first half and only be up 6-3.
Yeah,
Clemson's another team you're gonna have to put away. What's Banks' injury status? He good? Banks gonna be
Banks
good to
gonna
go?
play. He's
Okay.
probable. Isaiah Bond though looks like he's not gonna play,
Mhm.
so they're gonna be out down a
Okay.
receiver. But it looks like Banks is gonna play,
Okay.
so that'll help. Night game, you got Ohio State hosting Tennessee. This everybody's saying this is probably the best matchup of the first round. Ohio State favored by 7.5 at home. Of course, Ohio State, last time we saw them, got upset by Michigan at home. I think they just have a Michigan problem. That was pretty funny. They couldn't beat them. What has it been, 4 years in a row?
Yeah.
What do you think? Does
Terrible.
Ohio State bounce back? Tennessee, um, they got a young quarterback on the road in the cold and playoff environment. I think Ohio State's got the better roster. What do you think in this game?
Honestly, man, and I've got a pick in this one too, and I can go ahead and kind of spoil that. I don't think this one will be close. I think Ohio State. I think the stage is too big for Tennessee. I think Ohio
Probably.
State's going to be angry. And I agree. I'm excited to see this one, but I think this one gets out of hand. And I think Ohio State just kind of runs away with it, similar to the Big Ten championship. Oregon just kind of, Penn State kind of came back at the end to make it seem a little close. That wasn't close all game. I think we'll see another something like that. I think Ohio State kind of runs away with it.
Well, and they've had a few weeks to marinate on
Yeah.
that loss to Michigan. They could be
And have
coming
to
in
hear all this and
fire.
hear, and yeah, they're going to be angry.
Yep. Yep. And Ryan Day might feel like he's got to save his job
Yeah.
after losing to Michigan 4 years in a row. All right. Well, that's going to be the first round. NFL, not much to talk about. I mean, we were in a text exchange this weekend with some other buddies. When I watched the NFL, I just haven't been in the NFL as much this year. I guess because the Cowboys stink. But to me, I mean, we might as well just fast forward to the conference championship weekend. I think you got the Chiefs and the Bills in the AFC, and you got the Eagles and Lions in the NFC. I
Hmm.
I was a little shocked that Buffalo controlled that game against Detroit last week as much as they did. Could be a Super Bowl preview, but don't forget about the Chiefs. I know they barely win every game, and Mahomes' ankle. I don't. Is he playing this week? They play Saturday,
Hmm.
so I'm
Yeah,
not sure. I would
far as I've read
imagine.
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine he's probably playing. They're only favored by 3.5 Saturday against the Texans. Of course, the Texans are pretty good, but the Chiefs, I think it's just going to bite them eventually. You play that many close games, you're going to slip up, and I don't know. Of course, they're trying to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Never been done before. I
Right.
think you play that many close games, it's going to eventually bite you. But they're so good in close games. Patrick Mahomes is so good in close games. But could this be the year Buffalo finally gets over the hump with Josh Allen? We'll find out. And then the Eagles are catching their stride. I mean, the Eagles are looking good.
I know. And I'm just like, I hate Nick Sirianni,
Not a
but
fan. I don't think a
he's,
lot of Eagles fans are fans of him
yeah,
either.
I don't think they like him either. So, it's like when Odor punched Bautista. A lot of
Yeah.
Toronto guys are like, yeah, thank you. Like, we
Yeah.
hate that guy too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, you can't deny the Eagles, man. They're tough. They get the passing game going. I don't know. Golly, man, I'd
Yeah.
love to see them against Buffalo in just a turn it loose Super Bowl set the record, we get in the 50s each team or something. Because yeah, offensively that would just be amazing. But yeah, like you said, I hadn't been really in the NFL either, and I guess it is because the Cowboys stink. I don't know. It's just hard to kind of get excited for it.
You just kind of know the teams are going to be there in the end. You play this long season, and you know it's probably just going to be the Chiefs and Bills and the Lions and Eagles,
Hmm.
and that's might be a
Yep.
part of it. All right, let's go to our last segment. It's our picks. So last time we had a show, I had a 4-3 week. You had a 5-3 week. So we're right there around 500. I'm at 49%. You're at 48%. So we're both got a chance to get over 50% for the season. Last couple weeks of the show. We'll start it. I only have three. I have three college, three NFL. So I got six.
I got
What?
5-5.
5-5. Okay. All right. Well, I'll start. I got two plays on the Friday night college game. Notre Dame, Indiana. I think Notre Dame covers this game. It's at 7, and that's the number for me. If it was at 7.5, I'd probably buy the half a point. I think Notre Dame has a better roster. They have a really good defense. I think Notre Dame is able to win this game by double digits. I think they control the game. I think Notre Dame beats Indiana, and I also with that defense, I think with the wind chill and everything Friday night playing outdoors, I'm going to go under. I think they control Indiana. Don't allow them to score a lot of points. I think Notre Dame gets up and then kind of just squeezes the game with the run game and defense. So I think it's an under 52 game. So I got Notre Dame -7, Indiana Notre Dame under 52.
I got Notre Dame under 52. I love it. It's for the exact same reason. Indiana's getting their quarterback back, but I think it's one of those Notre Dame's defense. Like I said, when it's windy, you've got to rely on the ground game. That's one thing Notre Dame does extremely well. And yeah, it's under 52 for this one as well.
All right. My last college play is the SMU Penn State game. I'm going to go over 54. I know it's going to be cold. It's going to be really cold, but I
Hmm.
think Jennings' ability to run the football with SMU is going to allow them to score a lot of points. Drew Aller, he's playing some great football. That Penn State offense, his passing game's got it going. I just see this being over. I know it's going to be a cold game, but those guys are going to be wanting to move around, run around. It's also, don't forget, hard to tackle when it's that cold as well. I think SMU Penn State is an over 54 game.
So I was going to take the over because I believe in the ponies. But instead, I'm going to take the ponies +9 because I think they're going to get moving. Like you said, they're going to get the blood flowing. I think the ponies are going to get running. And before they know it, Penn State is either going to be down, I don't know, maybe 2, 3 scores, or it's going to be closer and they're going to be going, why can't we get rid of these SMU Mustangs?
Yep.
And I think it's going to be that way the whole game. So give me the ponies +9.
I can see this playing out just like the SMU Clemson game. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. What's your
Okay, well,
rest
I'm
of your
going to
college bet?
go the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl, Tulane in Florida, over 48. Both team, DJ Lagway. I'm just going these guys, Florida and Tulane. I haven't heard of too many transfers, opt out, stuff like that. So anytime you've got full rosters, you expect probably a pretty full game. Yeah, give me over 48 in that one. Uh, and then I talked earlier about Tennessee, Ohio State. Give me Ohio State -7. I just don't
Yeah.
think that's going to be enough. And last one, Clemson, Texas under 52. I think Texas, kind of like Notre Dame, this 52, uh, it's too much. It's
I
too
agree.
much Texas defense. I think Klubnik will be running a lot. I think he's going to be running for his life. It's going to lead to a lot of incompletes, a lot of turnovers. I think Texas just smothers Clemson. So give me under 52.
Hey, you just talked me into a bet. I'm thinking about it. I like it. The Gasparilla Bowl, Tulane, Florida, over 58 or over 48. I'm going to
Yep,
join you on that one. I think Florida, with the
love it,
momentum they ended the season with and DJ Lagway playing, I think they might could cover this themselves. So I'm going
love
to
it,
add that over 48.
love it.
Okay. All right, you got 5 NFL bets. We'll
Hmm.
let you start.
All right, Rams and Jets under 47. Give me under 47. I mean, the Rams have some semblance of an offense, and so do the Jets, but they're both. I mean, I think they're just going to be running into each other. It's going to be under 47, Rams and Jets.
I got to play in this game as well. I'm going Rams -3. I think the Rams are getting hot. I mean, they got a chance to make the playoffs. They're in that final spot. Uh, the bookmakers keep the Jets lines close every week, but the Jets
Yeah.
stink.
Stink.
I think the Rams are hot. I'm gonna go Rams -3 to cover against the Jets.
Like it. I'm going another under. Giants Falcons under 43. Giants are terrible. Falcons are breaking in their first round pick from Washington last year, Michael Penix
Call.
Jr. Under 43. First time starting quarterback, lefty. By the way, you talk to any of these NFL guys, it's a different rotation on the ball. Offensive coordinator, you got to change blocking. You got to do a little bit more than just throwing a backup out there. So that to me, under 43.
All right, I got Vikings Seahawks. Seahawks at home. I think they upset the Vikings this week. The Vikings are like
Boom.
they only have 2 losses on the season. I think their magic is running out a little bit. Seahawks are a good football team. They're gonna have the home crowd. I think the Seahawks cover and win. So Seahawks +3 over the Vikings.
I'm going under again, Trey. Jaguars Raiders under 41. Just two bad teams, man.
Yeah.
I don't think they can get enough done. I think 41's too much. I think this be like Giants Saints last week or last time we had a show, and that one was under 41, and that one was in the teens. Give it to me again. Jaguars Raiders under 41.
All right. My last NFL bet, the Dolphins hosting the 49ers. It's a close spread. Dolphins favored by 1. I think they win the game. Remember, 49ers got to go from San Francisco to Miami. I think Miami's trying to fight for their playoff life. I think they have more to play for. 49ers are just struggling this year. I like the Dolphins to beat the 49ers, so Dolphins -1.
I like it. My last two, Saints and Packers under 43. The Saints, bad offensively. Packers are good offensively. I think the Packers, this may be a 30-6, 38-0 something kind of game. So under 43, Saints and Packers. And last one, Lions and Bears. I think the Lions, Dan Campbell's going to have them ready. And the Bears are awful.
Yes.
They're not good, dude. And they got a quarterback that blames everybody, done got the head coach fired and all this. So Lions -6. The Chicago is such a dysfunctional franchise, and Detroit is such a well-run machine right now. They got their pride. They got their pride nipped there by Buffalo. I think they come back, send a message, and easily cover that. It's going to be Lions -6.
I agree with that. The comeback, they're a great football team. They're going to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
I like that bet. All right, here's the Gridiron Ground recap. We got Jimmy. He's got Indiana, Notre Dame under 52, SMU +9, Tulane, Florida over 48, Ohio State -7, Clemson, Texas under 52. NFL, Jimmy's got Rams, Jets under 47, Giants, Falcons under 43, Jags, Raiders under 41, Saints, Packers under 43, Lions -6. Creta, myself, I got Notre Dame -7, Indiana, Notre Dame under 52, SMU, Penn State over 54, Tulane, Florida over 48. And then in the NFL, I got Rams -3, Seahawks +3, Dolphins -1. That's our show. Next week we got Christmas, but we're gonna have a show. We're gonna record Thursday. The show will be out next Friday, just like this week. So it'll come out the 27th. So we'll have new bets for you that week, starting with Friday's games on the 27th. So we'll be sure to join us next week as well. So like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. So that's our show. Thanks for listening.
Enjoyed it.
All right, Jimmy. We will see you next week. Have a good Christmas, buddy.
All right, buddy. You too. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. See you.